The white woman across the aisle from me says, Look at all the history. That house on the hill over there is over 200 years old," as she points out the window past me, into what she has been taught. I have learned little more about American history during my few days back east than what I expected, and far less of what we all should know of the tribal stories, whose architecture is 15,000 years older than the corners of the house that sits museumed on the hill. "Walden Pond," the woman on the train asks. "Did you see Walden Pond?" And I don't have a cruel enough heart to break her own by telling her there are 5 Walden Ponds on my little reservation out west, and at least 100 more surrounding Spokane, the city I pretend to call my home. "Listen," I could have told her, "I don't give a shit about Walden Pond. I know the Indians were living stories around that pond before Walden's grandparents were born, and before his grandparents' grandparents were born. I'm tired of hearing about Don freaking Henley saving it too, because that's redundant. If Don Henley's brothers and sisters and mothers and father hadn't come here in the first place, then nothing would need to be saved." But I didn't say a word to the woman about Walden Pond, because she smiled so much and seemed delighted that I thought to bring her an orange juice back from the food car. I respect elders of every color. All I really did was eat my tasteless sandwich, drink my Diet Pepsi, nod my head whenever the woman pointed out another little piece of her country's history, while I, as all Indians have done since the war began, made plans for what I would do and say the next time somebody from the enemy thought I was one of their own.
Whilst reading the poem, we noticed that it shared many commonalities with our book. Not only did it deal with Alexie's main topic of interest, Native Americans and their interaction with whites, but also storytelling and respect. These two issues were discussed heavily, especially in the opening chapters of our novel, Reservation Blues. It shows that regardless of their differences, the native was willing to listen to the old woman's story out of respect for their elders. The poem addressed the fact that natives are a minority, but portrayed their interaction with whites somewhat differently, since the book generally did not deal with old white people. Like in the novel, he discredits many white achievements and makes them out to be stolen from the Indians. He also uses syntax to emphasize those points. This allows the reader to really see the extent to which Alexie, or the character in this poem, were annoyed by her stories, yet still listened out of respect and humbleness. We were surprised by there being far less in terms of analogies as well, compared to the vast quantities used in the book. He did, however, still use the vivid, descriptive language that was rich throughout the novel